This is Chet Holmgren, and I'm down to dunk.
This is AJ Mitchell, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Alex Crusoe, and I'm down to dunk.
It's like baby bottle pop. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is Adam Flagler, and I'm down to dunk.
Hey, it's Isaiah Hartenstein, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Kason Wallace, and I'm down to dunk.
I can't spell Lucas. Hey, how do you spell Lucas? How do you spell Lucas?
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
This is Nikola Topic, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Dylan Jones, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Isaiah Joe, and I'm down to dunk.
And there's probably like 50 to 75 Beanie Babies.
Give me like your top 3 Pokemon.
Brother, I can't even name.
This is Jay Will, and I'm down to dunk.
Sometimes the way his brain works is it leaves a lot to be desired.
This is Kenrich Williams, and I'm down to dunk.
Charmander.
Yeah.
Charmander. Or you're more of a Charmeleon guy.
Charmeleon.
This is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and I'm down to dunk.
Schlecht. You know what
Schlecht?
it means? Yeah.
That means like bad.
It means bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Well, it was a good interview, so it wasn't bad.
J-Dub, year 3, and I'm down to dunk for the 3rd time. Thank you.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, is Michele Berra. But Michele, before I get to you, I got to tell you guys about my guys, Aaron and Drew Reese of Shelter Insurance here in OKC. Proud supporters of Down to Dunk and the Thunder. And it's an exciting time to be supporting both. I'll tell you that, because we're heading into the playoffs, and you know what? We're also heading into storm season. There's no better time to make sure that you have somebody that's got your back. And we're talking about Shelter Insurance. They're ranked number 1 on the Forbes list last year for the world's best auto insurance companies. And right here in Oklahoma, they've been ranked number 1 for customer satisfaction by J.D. Power. 6 out of the last 7 years. Let's make it 8. But honestly, you can trust these guys. They're friends of mine and just great all-around dudes. And you should call them. Call Aaron at 405-773-5500 and call Drew 405-478-7714. They would be glad to take care of you. Just like the Thunder are taking care of business in New Orleans. Michele, how are you?
Doing great. I mean, regular season over. It seemed like, to me, like it started yesterday. Almost.
Does it?
Yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah, it went fast.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm getting
you know what? That's what I was just about to say, is that my wife and I were talking about how we just can't keep up with life right now. And I'm sure that a lot of you guys can sympathize with this. It's just like, you just feel like everything goes so quickly. The things that you're anticipating come and go, and you're just trying to hold on for dear life with what's going on. And the same with like this Thunder team, because I mean, you're right. It wasn't that long ago that we're sitting down to preview the season, trying to figure out, what's the potential here? What could these guys do? And to think about them winning 68 games,
shameful.
Just felt
just like poor look. I mean, we were so close, Andrew. So close.
Why are you saying that? What do you mean?
No 69. I mean, it's just terrible.
We're so close to having the nicest season in the history of the NBA. It could have been so nice.
Yeah,
could have been so. You know what is nice though? This Nick Gallo design.
I need to print it.
Yeah, you should print it. Any of you can print it. If you have kids, or if you just want to have your own mini little Mr. Gallo, you can make your own. In fact, today on Channel 9 here locally, Oklahoma's own News 9, you're going to see me and the L-Man.
Wow.
And our good friend Dusty, who did this. We're going to be on at 5 o'clock today. So if you're interested in seeing the story about this shirt and a little bit about Down to Dunk, check us out on News 9 today. Anyways, you should go get your own shirt. They're being printed today. They're being printed, and they will be shipped out to you very soon. If you have already pre-ordered, which you've had an overwhelming amount of pre-orders. And so if you want to get yours, be sure. The easiest way to do this is to just Google Down to Dunk Shopify. Sorry. Down to Dunk Shopify. And that's the easiest way to find this. You can also, like we were saying, you could download this for free and print it and then you can cut it out and have your own little Mr. Gallo. Hope you guys will bring those to the Thunder games in the playoffs. We very much appreciate that. So the Thunder won 68 games, so close to a very nice season, but still not there. And they're just like the amount of just accolades and the amount of things that they have just racked up here. Like, I think Shea's going to win the MVP. It's the 5th most wins in NBA history. They have the biggest point differential in NBA history, the biggest gap between the first and the second seed in NBA history, which is a wild one, the most double-digit wins in NBA history, the best record against an opposing conference. I mean, it is very, very crazy what they were able to do. So they were second in net rating, so maybe they need to try again next year to be the perfect team, but second in NBA history, by the way. That's what I mean, to the 96 Chicago Bulls. Just a crazy team.
Can you imagine be like number 2 after that team? I mean, it's come on, it's almost cheating here. Now, I meant that the record between the best record and the second, is it conference record? I think it is, right? Between the first team in the conference and the second one, because like 4 games between the first and the second in the league, it's not a record. I think that Golden State had 6 to the Spurs.
Oh, yes, in conference. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, in
but
conference.
That is also crazy to me. Like, this is the best team by super duper far. Like, it's not really close. And I know that the last 2 games against Houston and the Lakers left like a little bit of sour taste. But if you look the way in which they were running towards the Lakers guys, even in the second game, and then go back and just watch the Boston game or the game against Cleveland or whatever mid-January game. I mean, it's whatever, man. It's like, it's the end of the season. Number 1 goal was, yes, to have the best record in the league, but also to be just healthy, rested, and with no issues whatsoever. That is the goal.
Especially with all that they've endured this season. That's what's crazy about all these things that I just read off, is that they have had a ton of games missed by players. And a lot of them don't qualify for like awards because many of them didn't reach the 65 games. And in fact, like, they only had, they had 7 guys get 65 or more games this season. Like, Hartenstein doesn't qualify, Caruso doesn't qualify. Obviously, Chet only played 32 games this season. So, like, that's pretty crazy to me. You know, you had guys like the healthiest guys on the roster, and this is part of why they were able to experience what they did this year, is that Shea played 76 of those games. But only 4 guys played 70 or more, with Dort, Joe, Wiggins, and Shea. So, you know what, J-Dub, shout out to the L-Man. J-Dub did play a nice number of games. So at least we can hold on to that.
Yeah. And so did Kenrich Williams. Both.
So did Kenrich. That's right.
Yeah.
Two of the nicest guys on the team. Right.
Yeah.
There.
And I mean, let's talk for just a brief second about the game against the Pelicans, which was clearly meaningless, except for the fact that it was so funny to see Isaiah Joe hunting threes because nothing would go in. He was clearly mad and frustrated with himself.
Hey, and if you can do that and still beat somebody, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And also he lost the first spot in terms of percentage because of this game. He's now tied with Lou Dort at the 41.2.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Dude, that is wild, though. That is wild that those two, that again, like Lou Dort's at the top of this list for the Thunder.
Yeah.
In 3-point. Now, he didn't take as many threes as Ijo did. He didn't even take as many as Shea did this year. But 41%. Like, that's clearly, like, that's something that Isaiah Joe should have done this season. But the fact that Lou Dort continues to shoot it well from 3 is astounding. Like, I think that's something that not a lot of people are talking about today.
Yeah.
And my hope is that we'll talk about things that not everybody's talking about today. Like, here's Lou Dort's journey in the 3-point land. He started off as a 29% 3-point shooter. And you know what? We all thought, that seems all right to me. We watched him at Arizona State.
Generous. Even generous.
Yeah. Like, man, that might be the best percentage he shoots ever. You know?
Yeah.
Like, we may have peaked already. He's 34% his second year, 33 for the next 2 years. In the 21-22 and 22-23. Then he shoots up to 39% last season in the 23-24 season. And you definitely thought peak Dort. Nope. And in these 2 years, the thing that has changed the most, and then he used 41% this year, it's shot selection, and it's the fact that his role, Chip England is definitely a help, but like his shot selection has gotten so much better.
Yeah.
And his just ability to play this specific role has been unbelievable. Like I think he has a legit shot of getting depoy. I tend to think he won't get it, but I do think he's got a legit shot. Honestly, it's probably going to be Draymond, which will be the most annoying depoy award ever. I will be pretty frustrated if that's who gets it.
Not even making the playoffs directly. Like what
I know. They may not make it at all. And like somehow we're giving it to Draymond, and all it does, if he wins it, it should be embarrassing to the voters. The voters should feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
Because what it says is that we have no conviction. We're not watching the games. We don't know who it is. We were just waiting for somebody to volunteer themselves, or we are waiting for somebody who we think is smarter than us to declare who it is. Oh, and because Draymond did it on his podcast and he's got some pretty good defensive metrics, we should give it to him. Like, give me a break. Give me a break. It's defensive player of the year, not defensive player of the last 2 months. Like, don't vote for him. I'm not going to say like it has to be Dort. Like, Dort would be a great selection. This is one of the best defenses ever.
Yeah.
You can make the argument this is the best defense, regular season defense in the history of the game. You can make the argument with the amount that defenses have advanced in the last like 15 years and the amount of point of attack defenders that they have and the rim defense, and like they have it all. And he is the leader of the defense. Like, it's not that hard to make the case for Dort. It's really not. But to give it to Draymond Green, again, voters should feel embarrassed. In your soul, you should feel embarrassed for yourself if you're voting for him. And then if he actually wins it, then you have been manipulated, my friends. You have been manipulated by the ultimate NBA manipulator. I'm mad about this.
I can tell that you're mad. To get you not mad, I will play a little game with you. It's called How Many Guys Shot Better than 38% After All-Star Break for OKC.
Ooh.
That is a very long name for a game.
It's a great name for a game show. This could have legs here. Let's see. How many did? What about 9?
No, you're very far off.
How many? How many is it?
Everyone but Hartenstein, AJ Mitchell, Brendan Carlson, and Adam Flagler.
Wow.
That is insane to me.
So how many is that? 15?
Probably it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Wow.
It's Chet Holmgren, 3.7 attempts. Kenrich Williams, 38.2, 2.6 attempts. Aaron Wiggins, 38.8, 5.5 attempts. Dylan Jones, 38.9 on 0.9 attempts. Cason Wallace, 39.7, 3.3 attempts. Caruso, 41%, 2.9 attempts. Shea, 41.2 at 5.7 attempts. Lou Dort, 41.5, 6.4 attempts. J-Dub, 42.4 on 5.1 attempts. Isaiah Joe, 6.7 attempt, 44.3%. Usman Jang, 50% on 1.5.
Yeah.
Jay Will, 54.2% on 3 attempts per game. And Alex Dukas, 60%.
Shout out to Dukas, who came back from injury. Is playing pretty good. Don't know how much longevity the Duke man will have with the Thunder, but a lovely guy, and he's played pretty well in these last few games. So, two-way players, by the way, tell them goodbye because they're not playing in the playoffs. They're not eligible to play in the playoffs. So
no ring
Carl.
for them.
I think you get a ring. Like a lot of people get rings. If you get I think they get a ring. They just can't play. So, because like guys that like get traded and stuff can get rings if you're just on the team.
Yeah, so they should be.
So I don't. Yeah, I mean, like my pal Zena Keita, who's on the NBA Daily Show, she got a ring when she was like on the Warriors staff at one point, and so when they won, she got a ring. So lots of people get rings. So
what was she doing in the staff, like scouting and stuff like that?
No, she was actually working for Santa Cruz Warriors and then was doing stuff for their broadcast. So
wow.
Yeah. She does a lot of stuff. She's super great.
Very quite good. Very super good.
Yeah. I don't know how much longer we can hang on to her because I think that somebody's got to snatch her up. But anyways, I'm just thoroughly impressed with this team, with this roster, with the coaching staff, with what Presti did. I put out the win totals over the last 5 years yesterday after the win, and it's still astounding to think about it. It's still astounding. So in 2021, they had 22 wins. In 2021, that's post-COVID. We talk about pre and post-COVID times. Yeah. That's still like not that long ago. In 2022, they had 24 wins, Michele. They had 24 wins. I almost spilled my drink because I'm just getting so excited to talk about this. 24 wins in 2022. That's not that long ago. Then they jumped to 40 wins in 23, 57 last year. They jumped 17 wins. And I think I maybe picked them for like 62 or 63 wins this year. But and just so like we are clear about this, the higher you go above 55, the harder like those games are to get. Like those are really tough. Like you reach a threshold. I mean, they're one of like the top 5 best regular season teams of all time to get 68 wins. And there was still like frustration like down the stretch that they didn't get like a couple of those wins. But listen, like it is hard to stay focused.
Yeah.
It is hard to play 82 games and to still have gas left in the tank. It is such a credit to like the way that we saw them play in these last 2 games, which I don't know, the viewership probably wasn't super high, but the fact that they can use the system and that Mark and the coaching staff has these guys playing at such a high level that it just translates to all the guys that have been around it, and that they all have this like 0-0 mentality, and that they all play with such ferocity is such a credit to what Sam has built and to what Mr. Bennett has allowed him to do through this. Like, first, like you see it across the league right now is that ownership matters so much. And so like, I don't want, as we like take stock in what's happened this year, I think it's so important to credit Clay Bennett and the ownership group from here because they allow this like top down thing to happen. Because if it's not him and it's somebody else, I just wonder what that looks like. I would just wonder what that looks like. Then it goes down to Presti and like the team that he's built over the course of the last 4 seasons. And the work started early. You pick up Lou Dort on draft night as a undrafted free agent. He's a foundational player in this thing, like absolutely foundational in this thing. And then you make this just unbelievable trade where you're tearing things down. You're trading away a legend as a part of the teardown in Russell Westbrook. And you make the Paul George trade, which, we talk about the Luka trade, and it didn't have as visceral of a reaction at the time.
Mm-hmm.
However, you could make the argument that the Paul George trade is way more transformational to a franchise than the Luka trade is. Part of it that it won't be recognized that way is that it wasn't a trade that involved the Los Angeles Lakers. And because it's the Lakers, it will forever be talked about. But the fact that the Thunder got Shea and J-Dub in a trade, basically, and other picks coming in, they're not looking like they're going to be as good. But to get those two alone is just absolutely wild. And all I'm trying to say is, like, if the water shuts off there, you've won.
Yeah, you've won big time.
You've won like tenfold. You have won. And then to like build the way that they have, I remember the first lottery, and I'm sure a lot of you were with us. It was like I think it was our first post-COVID event was at the Mule in Edmond, where we had the lottery party, and I even have video of it still. And it is so sad for us all to be there. Yeah. And to get, we had dreams of 1 in 5, but we ended up getting 6. And that draft ended up being like not very significant for the Thunder. The only one left is Aaron Wiggins. They did trade Giddey for Caruso, who I think is going to play a huge role for the Thunder in the playoffs this year, by the way. Yeah. But the fact that he was able to like eject from that decision quickly too, which I think was the right way to handle it. And then to like pick up Isaiah Joe off the scrap heap, who's a huge part of the team. Select Aaron Wiggins in the second round to draft Casey Wallace, who is like so underrated, to get the best free agent in the history of the NBA, or in the history of the NBA, in the history of the Thunder, and Isaiah Hartenstein to come and sign here. I'm so used to saying the history of the NBA because of this team. Kendrick Williams, for crying out loud. You got him in the Steven Adams deal to New Orleans. As like, we didn't even know like who in this trade is sticking around. Probably nobody. Who cares? I don't know. Let's just talk about Poku
in that trade.
Oh yeah, Admiral Schofield was one of the names, man. That was one of the names.
Another one that I don't remember. It sounded. I don't remember it. It was the Steven Adams deal.
Yeah,
and guy that never ever played in the NBA.
Even that, that's a great return. And then like in the draft that made this team, obviously the trade made the team more than the draft did. But the fact that you got Chet, J-Dub, and J. Will all in the same draft, where like you have 2 foundational stars and like a really good role player who's getting better, by the way. He's throwing oops off the backboard to himself. What is going on? Like that is, that's astounding. And this is just a masterclass of team building, and then a masterclass of coaching. Like the foundation that they put in from the coaching staff, from Mark, is just unbelievable. They have done an almost perfect job with this team. And I think they need like some praise today. Obviously the team itself does, because like they're the ones who make it all, happen on the court. But the intentionality behind everything that was done to put this team on the floor, to bring it to where it is today, deserves, Sam and Clay and Mark deserve so much credit for what they've built. It is truly special. And I hope Thunder fans, and I hope people that live in Oklahoma City understand how special this is, because it is something that like you're not guaranteed every year. You're not guaranteed for this to last forever, and like enjoy enjoy it. That's all I have to say, because they have built something extremely, extremely special.
Yeah, and I like to think about the drive that they had and the people that they picked to do this journey.
Yeah.
But then, and it's all true. They drafted well. They drafted talent. Many teams do, though. Drafting talent is not sufficient. It's not sufficient to have great talent and hire a great coach. There are plenty of cases where you have like a great coach, and then you have good players, great players, and it amounts to very little. I think that you need to have luck, and even that.
Look at David Griffin in New Orleans today.
I was about to say. I was thinking exactly to that. But at some point, you need to have a great manager and a great leader. And if it happens to be combined in one person that inspire other person like him, other leaders that can also be great managers. And to me, being a leader and being a manager are two things that people actually think are the same. They are definitely not. Managing, it's the art of getting stuff done, and leadership, it's the art of inspiring. I'm very simplistic here. It's not that simple, but just to So, if you can get people who can do both at a high level, then that is where you can really see like a team or a group of people or a company just being transformed by that. And I really see that in OKC. There is a clear leadership in Presti. There are clear stuff that are said throughout the team that are basically Presti MO. And then you go to Mark Degnold, and you see the same. You see sentences. You see way of saying. You see principles that are deeply rooted into everyone, and are Mark Degnold's principle. And then you have Shea, and it's a cascade stuff, which creates this environment. And I mean, it's just great to see, even from like not a basketball point of view. It's really something that is in harmony from top to bottom, and it's the drive that you can create when everybody is really pushing and rowing in the same direction is incredible. And yeah, to do that, you need to have the right people at the right place. And it's not just having a great trade in Paul George. It's getting Shea in and not being too rushed into box him into a role. Allowing him to evolve with Chris Paul, allowing him to be the leader of the team, choosing him over Giddey to be the guy who has the ball in his hand, sacrificing Giddey's career path to get Shea to the level that he wants to be. And I mean, that is a risk, because Giddey is a great point guard. He will be in the NBA for a long time. But to see in that year where Giddey was growing like a star, to keep the ship steady and say, no, that is our captain. That is where we want to go. These things are very small, but they amount to very, very different results.
Yeah. Or even remember at the end of, what season was that? The end of Giddey's rookie season, where they wanted to try to put the ball in Giddey's hands more.
Mm-hmm.
And we asked Shea about it, and he gave the not my plan A answer, and give Shea so much credit, his leadership and like what he's done too. And this is the trickle down from Clay to Sam to Mark to Shea. Like, I think I asked Mark about this the other day. I was like, what do you think Shea, like, I was like, you've coached Shea for a long time. Mark was a part of the coaching staff, even with Billy that year that he was coached by Billy. And I asked him, like, what has he improved with the most? And he just talked about with the speed of the game for Shea, and like the pace for him has improved so much. And I really think like the leadership stuff has been like the thing, And like you even look at him this year, like he's grown a lot since last year to this year because like he knows like I have to get everybody ready. He was clearly ready last year. Shea was ready. He was ready for the playoffs. He was ready for the moment. He won playoff games by himself last year.
Oh yeah.
However, he got to the end of the road. Game 4 against Dallas.
Willed them to the win. Yeah.
Yeah. Like in Dallas. Yeah, that was insane. After losing game 2. Yeah. And 3. I mean, it was just wild what he was able to accomplish as an individual. But he knew at the end of the season, like, I've got to get everybody else ready. And I've got to be the one to help everybody get there. Because like you can encourage as much as you want from the sidelines. Like I know that Sam and that Mark are both like they want these guys to get there. There's also a level of patience that exists within the organization that like yes, like they want to win it this year. Of course they want to win it this year. But is the sky going to be falling if they don't win it this year? No, because they have an organization that has the knowledge and the patience to stay the course and to make tweaks instead of wholesale changes, which is like so valuable. I mean, you look across the league, you look at Phoenix, who had to let go of their second coach in 2 years. They're going to hire another one, may end up having to fire him too next summer. Yeah. But like the wholesale changes that they have made because of like these just like instant reactions, and like they've gotten a ton of publicity for it in the moments with like the Kevin Durant trade and the Bradley Beal trade, and even like getting Tyus Jones to sign on at the minimum. Like everybody's so excited about that, but like the thing is like they have such organizational instability. Like none of it matters. None of it matters. Like we're talking about a Thunder team that just won 68 games, and it wasn't lightning in a bottle. It wasn't something that just like suddenly came together over the course of the last few months. It is something that has been intentionally been built brick by brick. And it's built through a culture. It's built through these ideals that they have for players. It is built through the personalities of the players. Like I can tell you, like going in the Thunder locker room and interacting with these guys, these are guys that I'm ecstatic for my kids to cheer for. I'll say that. Like I want my kids to be fans of these guys. There are other players that I'm like, man, I'm not so sure that I really want you to be a fan of that guy. Like I don't know that I want that. But to me,
it's very easy with this team.
It's almost easy. It's almost too easy. It's almost too easy with this group.
Yeah. By the way,
it's just wild. It's just wild that we're in this place. This is like a pinch me moment, like for Thunder fans, and it should be.
By the way, when you said it was built brick by brick, I was clearly thinking about how many bricks we had to endure.
You're talking about Poku?
No, in general.
Where you're just folding himself in half to get the ball to the rim.
Yeah, exactly. Bricks over bricks for 2 seasons.
Brick by brick.
Yeah, exactly. That is the.
I got my Poku packs up here right now. They're not in the shot of the camera, but I've got both Poku packs sitting right up here.
It was it was not easy those 2 years to believe. And speaking about Shea and the evolution, I have vivid in my memory discussions that I had with you, with John, about how the team was playing better with Shea off.
Yeah,
like clearly better in terms of ball movement. It was moments with Kenrich Williams, that
Mike
Kenrich
Muscala.
and Mike. Exactly. Those moments, you could really see the team passing, creating open shots. And then you could see Shea and the team kind of stop around him. And then you see next year, the year when they won 44, things starting to change. Not really completing. There were moments with Jay that would say, oh, the team is like, it's definitely better with Shea, but they're not there in terms of playing. And now the last 2 seasons, it really improved a lot. Last season from this one, it's different. Right now, you can clearly see the team working with Shea as the engine and not the, when I'm on, it's like my way. No, it's the team plays always the same, with Shea freestyling as he should.
Mhm.
And J-Dub freelancing or freestyling, whatever, here and there as well, because they are the best players. But it's an harmony. It's not like, oh wow, they play really different. And then when neither is on the court, the team can express the same level of beautiful basketball, because Wiggins can take some of the shots, because Isaiah Joe can now take a few dribbles inside and nail mid-range jumpers. Like it's so stable. I mean, even Dylan Jones can impersonate for 2 possessions with a very different level of success a guy like Shea or a guy like Dub. Trying to do similar thing, not exactly the same, but applying the same principles that work great with Shea and Dub, but they can also work with Jay Will out there wilding and doing stuff, or Carlson for that matter. I mean, a lot of Carlson last night.
Yeah, Brandon Carlson had
almost too much.
Had a great game yesterday against a team that had no interest in playing a basketball game.
He also wanted to get to 40. I mean, but
don't we all?
Yeah. Well, no, I don't want to get to 40. It's too close.
Are you talking about being 40 years old?
Exactly. I would like to have at least another 4 or 5 years as a 30 and change year man. But anyhow, this is old people talking. Wiggs was again fantastic last night. Is always fantastic.
What a story too for Aaron Wiggins, who literally on draft night, we're doing the podcast before the Wiggins pick.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about who is Jeremiah Robinson Earl and Josh Giddey. They really took him at 6. And by the way, the Thunder should still be proud of that Josh Giddey pick, by the way, just to say that. But they took Aaron Wiggins, and all we can think about it, is that Andrew Wiggins' brother? No, it's not. He's not Canadian, but this guy has really made himself into a player. To go from a 2-way contract, by the way, the 2-way contract pipeline for the Thunder is something that needs to be studied, which is so crazy. But man, Wiggins, to go from what he was, to this season, he's almost doubled the amount of points that he's scored this season per game. He's increased his minutes from 15 minutes to 23 minutes because they absolutely had to play him because he was that good for them. He increased his 3-point volume by a lot. He shot 1.6. I mean, more than doubled, because he was 1.6 last year to 4.5. I mean, that's a huge deal. That's a really big deal. And the percentage dropped a lot, but man, give me 5 instead of 1, please, any day.
Oh yeah. It's when you shoot 38% and you take more than 4, you are a weapon. If you take 1.2 at even 60%, that really doesn't count. I mean, people are not afraid of you just going off. I mean, Isaiah Joe, if you let him, he will hoist 15 threes. If he starts nailing, and Wiggs is starting to be the same. Not the same in terms of quickness of getting to. I mean, Joe can take 10 threes in a quarter. If you don't guard him well, then it's a disaster for you. Wiggins is not like that, but not very far. He can take 6-7 threes in a quarter. He showed that. Boston, I mean, they learned the lesson the hard way. Well, let's allow Wiggins. Come on. I mean, and he was just 3 after 3. Yeah. So the volume thing for every Thunder player, this was the recipe that it's not that because we are great at analyzing basketball. It's because it was right there to see the volume of threes was an issue for most of the Thunder player, except Lou Dort, who was having a nice balance between. No. I'm saying he was in the right.
I know. It's just funny to hear you say it. That's all.
I know. I mean, I can always go to the 2-point percentage, which is the worst of the team. Is the only player that is shooting below 50% in 2-pointers, together with Flagler.
That's wild, by the way. It is wild.
Like, but anyhow,
yeah,
the volume has increased for basically everyone, which is awesome.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a quick break. We'll take a look at the playoff bracket and briefly discuss the play-in. We have all week to talk about it, and in fact, we have like a playoff preview coming later this week. We may even move the Fry Pod to a Saturday. What? Which we probably need to because we won't know who they play until Friday night. So we will preview the playoff bracket, take a look at it right after this quick break. And we're back after that quick break. Michele, the playoff bracket is finally set. We don't have to hypothesize what's going to happen. And for the Thunder, there are 4 different teams that they could potentially play in round 1. With, I would say, Memphis is most likely at this point. They have to go into Chase Center tomorrow night and play the Warriors. I would favor the Warriors in that. And then if the Warriors win, then they go play the Rockets. And then it's the Grizzlies versus who wins from Dallas and Sacramento. And anything can happen. We've seen crazy play-in results, but I generally don't fear any of those teams. I think the Warriors would be the one that would make everyone the most nervous, I think. But like talking to my pal Anthony Slater earlier today, wouldn't really give the Warriors much of a chance against OKC, and he's the one who knows them best. So that's at least interesting. And then the fact that we have the Rockets, Wolves, and Lakers all on the other side of the bracket, I think that broke pretty well for OKC. And then they've got the Clippers and the Nuggets on their side. And with the kind of chaos that the Nuggets have been thrown into, I think that you feel a little bit better about that with Jamal Murray's. Obviously, he's playing, but like, is he 100%? Is he going to be 100% after being guarded by Chris Dunn for a season or for a series? I think that's a question, but just thoughts real quick on this side of the Thunder side of the bracket and what you think about it.
Well, this morning I said something commenting the seeding, and I think that OKC has teams that are very difficult to beat in Denver and the Clippers. I think that those 2 teams can make a series, both. I also think that the Warriors can make it a series if they somehow lose against Memphis. I think that OKC should really have an advantage in any matchup. They should be highly favored in any matchup. If they arrive to the conference finals, that is a very, very interesting one to me, because I think that the 3 team, the Lakers, the Wolves, and the Rockets, they can give them fits because of the size they have. And it's, I mean, at some point they have to get through this. This is how you go to the finals. You need to beat the best of the best. I think that I'm not sure that there is a team that scares me the most. I think that the Rockets have the least talent on one player. They don't have one guy that can really change the series. They have to do it by committee, which they are capable to. In the playoffs, I think that is a little bit harder compared to the regular season. I think that if you have Anthony Edwards, if you have Nikola Jokic, Luka, and LeBron, you are different. Kawhi and Harden, those are players that can change multiple games in the playoffs. I think that Houston is probably the team who plays the best defense among any team, except for KC, and that is going to matter in the playoffs. But still, I do think that there is an advantage on having one super duper guy out there. So I'm so interested to see how OKC plays. This morning I had a question: what makes this season not a failure? I think my answer is, I think that if you don't win, you fail to some degree. But there are failures and failures. I think it all depends on how.
Who is it? How does it happen? Is there an injury involved? Like, there's a lot of questions about it. It's not cut and dry,
But it's fine to have a failure. I mean, failure is where you regroup, restart, and improve. You can improve without failure, with minor failures, maybe with not with losing a series, but losing a couple of more games than what you anticipate. But let's not take failure as it's win or nothing. No, failure is part of it. It's still a great season. It will still be. People will remember the 73-9 Warriors, even if they didn't win a title. So I really think this qualifies as a great regular season anyhow. But they are the best team in the West, and they should be the favorite on every single up until the finals, I would say.
If they stay healthy, I think that people, if they don't get to the finals, that'll be a failure.
Yeah.
Just because of all the stats that we've read, because of looking across the Western Conference, and I just think that's how it will be characterized, fair or not. That's how it will be characterized. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily true. It also doesn't mean that they can't get better and come back next year and win it. That doesn't mean any of that. But I think it could be characterized that way. And you do need to learn through it. I mean, Dirk Nowitzki and the Mavericks had to learn through that. They lost in round 1 to the We Believe Warriors. And it took them a while, but they eventually bounced back and they won the whole thing. It took years to get there. And this is it's apples to oranges with the Thunder and the Mavs. There's not a lot of like to like comparisons there with those teams. But all that to say is there are degrees of this. If they lose in the West Finals to the Lakers, and it's just LeBron and Luka go off, I think it'll probably be deemed as a failure.
That will make me.
You just have to deal with honestly, as the players and as the organization, you have to deal with that. And it's how do you deal with it? And you can they will also experience failure along the way. They're probably not going 16-0. And so a question that I have and that I'm interested to see is how quickly can they bounce back from that failure?
Yeah.
Because I don't think they bounced back well enough in that series against the Mavericks last year. I just frankly don't think that they adjusted quick enough and that they were ready to make the adjustments necessary. And so that's part of the playoff scars that people talk about is the scars that you get often are learning to read situations and learning to read how to adjust and how to make those adjustments in between games. That's what those scars are typically about. And the Thunder clearly did not have the wherewithal to do it last year. And that's okay. That was a close series and they kept it close. And you can go back in time and say, they absolutely should have won that series. They really should have won that series. But now I think they have some of those playoff scars from last year. And I think that they're on their way. So I'm intrigued to see what happens here. Again, we are likely going to have a Saturday show to preview round 1. So look for that. I'd like to have some special shows along the way. My schedule is absolutely slammed this week. So it's going to be question whether that actually happens, but my intention is to have extra shows this week if we can make it happen. So anything else, Michele, before we go?
I want to see how they get into games. I mean, you want to see how quickly I want to see how they are aggressive at the beginning, how they just set their way into any series. Sorry. That was.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really great point that I want to see that aggressiveness off the back, meeting the moment.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I think is important. Yeah.
Just dismantling teams from the beginning, just destroying, having a different
especially in round 1, no mercy.
No.
Go destroy them. Go destroy them. Yeah, in any round, but make it a 4 or 5 game series around 1. Yeah. That's the kind of opponent that you're going to be playing, no matter who it is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. Be sure to go get yourself a Gallo shirt at our Shopify. You can Google Down to Dunk Shopify and it's there. So those are going to the printer today. So be sure to go get yourself one. Hope you guys have an amazing rest of your Monday. We'll talk to you guys again on Wednesday.